Don't tell people what you know.
Right.
Keep them poor. Poverty starts with a fundamental attitude. We moved across town and I went to a school with rich kids. These guys, their fathers owned the banks, they owned the plantations, they owned the car dealerships, the ranches. And I'm going, how come my dad doesn't own that? Talking to my fourth grade teacher, when am I going to learn about money? He says, we don't teach money at school. I said, why not? And she couldn't answer me. And she got very flustered. She said, sit down, take your seat. And then I got curious and said, why don't we learn about money? She says, go ask your father. He's my boss. I go home and ask him, said, why don't we learn about money in school? And he looked at me and says, because the government doesn't let us teach that. So I thought that was strange. And I said, but aren't we going to school to learn about money? He says, no, your job is to get a job. I said, but you get a job to earn money. He goes, no. You're supposed to just get a job. I went, no. Isn't the purpose of a job to earn money? He goes, you're correct. I said, so why don't I just learn about money? I can skip the job part, And he got flustered and he said, why don't you ask your best friend's father about money? And I said, why? That's Mike. So why ask him? He says, because Mike's father is an entrepreneur. And I said, what are you? He says, I'm an employee. I'm a government employee. And I went, oh, what's the difference? He says, the difference is an entrepreneur must know about money, or they're no longer entrepreneurs. An employee doesn't have to know anything about money. But I took my dad's advice and I trundled over to Mike's father's office and knocked on his door and I said, hey, I'm here, 9 years old. Teach me about money. He says, beat it, kid, But that's where the story of Rich Dad, Poor Dad started. My rich dad started teaching me about money on one condition, and that condition was he would never pay me. He says, the moment I pay you, you think like an employee. He says, that's the trap. Entrepreneurs work for free. And now I'm 9 years old, my head's cracking in half. He says, you never want a paycheck. You understand that, kid? I said, okay, I got it. How do I make money? He says, that's what entrepreneurs figure out. So I would work for free and he would teach me about money. But the way he taught me about money was playing Monopoly. One day I got upset. I said, we're playing Monopoly. He goes, no. What do you think we're doing? We're playing Monopoly. He says, what do you think we're doing? So I don't know. I'm teaching you about money. He says, there's many formulas for great success in money. There's thousands of them. But one of the best ones found on the game of Monopoly. I said, what? He says, one of the greatest ways to acquire great wealth is playing Monopoly in real life. And he says, what do you think I'm doing? And I went, I don't know. So then he took me out, he showed me his greenhouses. And 10 years later, when I was 19, I was now in school in New York, and I come back to Hawaii, and Rich Dad had bought the biggest piece of land smack dab in the middle of Waikiki Beach. And when you go to Waikiki Beach today, you'll see the Hyatt Regency Hotel. That was his hotel.
Just like the game of Monopoly, acquired assets and they became bigger assets.
So that's how I learned about money.
And that's because he refused to accept a paycheck.
He says that the moment you accept a paycheck, your brain goes dead. He says, as long as you're hungry, you'll think. And he was a great, great teacher. So today when people ask me what I do, I just say I play Monopoly. So I own greenhouses, I own big hotels. I'm just playing Monopoly. That's all I do. The school system will never teach you about money. The school system was designed to teach you to be an employee, which is important, or a doctor or a lawyer, a specialist, but never about money. I play Monopoly in real life. I don't need a job. I don't have a retirement. Don't need a retirement. I don't want the government to take care of me. But I felt a social responsibility to teach. And that's what my rich dad did. We all have fear. It's just how you deal with it. And, Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. But knowledge empowers imagination. And what most people lack is real business knowledge. Like accounting, like debt, like taxes. You gotta know that stuff, but they don't teach you in school to anybody. All teachers in school, they teach subjects they themselves don't practice. You know, I had the same problem in my MBA program. I got into arguments with the marketing teacher because the guy didn't have a business. And then I got into arguments with the accounting teacher because the accounting teacher didn't know accounting. I knew more about accounting than him because I actually worked in bookkeeping in my rich dad's companies. And so I'm not an accountant, but I understand accounting. So that was the end of my school years because I understood what a fake teacher is. A fake teacher is somebody who just wants a job and they'll teach anything. But they really don't know what they're teaching. One of the things I suggest to people, you got to find a real teacher versus a fake teacher. And a fake teacher is somebody who doesn't do what they teach. And a real teacher is doing what they teach every day. Don't tell people what you know. Keep them poor. It's in their words. They say, I can't afford it or I can't do that. They go down. They become what they say. And my rich dad would say, poor people say, I can't afford it, I can't do that, I don't have time. Because it's an escape. It's an escape.
And your rich dad used to say what instead of, I can't afford it?
How can I afford it? How can I do that? He says that a question opens a mind. See, when you say, I can't afford it, your mind shuts down. And you become what you say. But the thing is that we become creatures of our own habits. And until we break the habit, we don't change. Because to be rich, you have to give something. I purchase real estate, I provide housing, provide jobs and all that. That's why I'm rich. But greedy people produce nothing.
I had a guest on my show recently and he said, poor people are selfish. Yeah. They're always complaining about their problems. They're always focused on their own issues.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Well, the way you get rich is you solve other people's problems.
Right. That's how you create value.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If you could cure cancer today, you'd be a trillionaire. Our schools don't teach that. Our schools teach almost the exact opposite of that. If you're poor, you'll always be poor.
That's really hard for people to understand.
Yeah, the money will disappear that fast. Just like most pro athletes, they make millions of dollars, but 65% are bankrupt 5 years later. It's because they come from poor families. Now you tell them that, they get very angry at you. You guys ripped me off, and government ripped me off. It's passed down genetically. That's the frightening thing. We got to change what we teach our kids. So my poor dad never wanted to learn what my rich dad was teaching me. Right. People who are afraid of making mistakes, they don't ever grow. And the average person, the reason they're poor is they haven't failed. They play it so safe. They haven't made any mistakes like they taught in school. That means they don't learn anything. That's why the school system's actually fundamentally corrupt.